So what we're not seeing here is it was I think it was Zest that I cast yesterday. No. A couple days ago. And he went, I don't think it was Zest, but anyway, there's a Protoss player, and it was in the WTL, that went for a super delayed cyber. Like, it was a cyber that was finishing at 3 minutes, and it was a Stargate off of that, of course, but it was a really weird build. Anyway, yeah, this is going to be Stargate and Warpgate coming on down, but of course Stargate into Warpgate, not Warpgate into Stargate, as that kind of build variation that Trap innovated that became a really that he was really powerful with. That kind of showed up for like 2 weeks, right? When you went Warpgate into Stargate, not Stargate into Warpgate. And it was pretty good, but it does seem that players are, well, they seem to prefer getting their Stargate units out a little bit quicker than getting their ground units able to warp in a little bit faster. So that was something that we saw Trap do for like a month. Maybe it's how he won his 2 tournaments this year. But at the end of the day, it's not going to be quite enough. Well, I'm not going to say it's not quite enough, but most Protoss, at the very least, do seem to prefer getting that Oracle out first. And this is interesting, by the way. Creator going for an Oracle first, which almost implies that this is not going to be a significant Stargate commitment. Now, if he does go for a second Oracle, it's not going to be a Stargate commitment. It's going to be more ground-based force, unless, you know, he does surprise me and does something really weird. But that is, of course, the way things go. But okay, there we go. And it will be an Oracle into a Void Ray. And here we're talking about potential non-Stargate styles. Oh, shame on me. This is Juggernaut. This is a good Stargate map. Why in the world would you not do Stargate? I don't even know. Now, Zerglings are going to come on in here, try to see what damage they can get. And this is actually a really weird pylon location. Generally, you would choke yourself off between the Nexus and the pylon to make sure that the Adept is okay. But actually, you know what? This is a good spot here for these Adepts. These Adepts are actually, yeah. One will go on down. But that attempt will acquit itself rather well. And 3 drones on the other side will go on down here. So Solar not getting quite what he wants to get done on either side of the map. But at the end of the day, it's only 3 workers. And the Oracle was pulled home. So consider it a win, I guess. Or at least not a loss. Yes, here we have it. Second Stargate on the way. Yeah, this is the archetypical style. Now, I have seen a 3 Stargate build. 3 Stargate Void Ray that... Was it Creator? It may have been Creator that did this, actually. But, no, he will just go double Stargate into a Forge on the backside. Who am I thinking of? Okay, so we will have the Adept Shade on in, and this is actually starting to get some significant damage here. 2 workers here from the Adepts, which, you know, is about half of what you would want to get, but Oracle getting a lot as well. So now we're at 7 total drones down, which is not incredible, but not terrible either. So what am I thinking of? No, it was Patience. Patience was doing the weird builds that I was all talking about, that he kind of got bopped by Solar each time. So that's that's not exactly a good story here. Now, granted, Creator, he's not doing anything weird, right? He is going for your double Void Ray into Robotech, into Robo Bay, and that is a good option if your opponent's going to go for a ground-based style. But this is something that Solar and Rainer both have been doing a lot of recently, and it has looked really good. Where he says, to hell with a Queen Walk, whatever, I don't really care. I'm going to get my lair, and I'm going to go into a really quick Spire. And once I do that, I'm going to get like 15 meters, as now the Avoiders are going to try to snipe this 4th base down, and they will be successful. Although Solar does get the cancel at the last second. But anyways, quick 3 base Spire. You get on up to like 10-15 meters, then you build a lot of Corruptors, assuming it's unscouted. Otherwise, you get into Corruptors immediately. And you just go on in there and you say, okay, well, I'm going to prevent you from getting on into your actual late gameplay that you are so interested in getting here. So Oracle's going to fly on in once again. So we're now down at 10 workers and a hatch that has been taken out by the Stargate of Creator thus far. So this is actually a pretty good situation for him. That being said, we do have the Spire was scouted by the Oracle. And Creator's actually going up to a significant number of Void Rays. He had 7, but he has 2 more on the way, so this is more than you would normally see. But, oh, okay, this is interesting. Solar is going on into mutas despite the fact that he has been scouted. And I don't hate it. Creator, though, acting like he hasn't scouted it at all. Right, he does have a fleet beacon on the way. Now, this may be for Andean Pulse Crystals for a bunch of Phoenix, but I don't think that's the case here. I think this is just going to be for straight carriers. And yes, carriers are actually surprisingly good against mutas, but once you get the 13 to 15 mutas that Solar has bought, you go on into Corruptors. And you make an army that can really fight the air army of Creator rather easily. So now we have the mutas. They're flying across the map. Of course, they will never be as powerful as they are when they first do arrive, but now we have Phoenix on the way. So yeah, Creator, he is acting like he has scouted this now, but it's gonna be 1 Phoenix against 13 mutas. Like that's not a good situation here. So mutas will find the Stargates, and they say, okay, well, I can see what's being built here. But they're all now going to consolidate, and this is where things get a little bit scary for these Void Rays and the single Phoenix, right? That is enough mutas to most likely take the fight. Maybe not quite enough. But of course we do now have Corruptors on the way. Solar playing that Phoenix Corruptor style that was once popular in Heart of the Swarm, but really it's becoming popular once again, and it's really cool. In all honesty, it makes me really excited to see that. It seems to be a really good way to deal with this Stargate style of the Protoss players have been playing for the most part, and it's just really dynamic. Right? Oh, that's interesting. No Andean Pulse Crystals at all. It's going to be for Flex Veins. I guess, you know what? I guess that normalizes the air fleet speed a little bit more than Andean Pulse Crystals are nice as well. So that's 1 dead muta. No, actually, it will be microed back in time, and it's on top of a shield battery. Never mind. You know what? Solar's not getting a lot done with this. Not yet. Now, nice micro here from Solar and Creator both. So the way you want to take these engagements, right, is you move forward with the mutas to try to fight the Void Rays. Then with the Phoenix move forward, you move your Corruptors forward. So it's a bit of a dance backwards and forwards here. But Creator has taken absolutely 0 damage from this, which is really nice for him, right? Yeah, he's losing 4 workers here or there, but that's not really all that much. Now, that being said, we will have a Phoenix start to die here, as this is what we're looking at. So only 4 Phoenix on the map right now. We should go on up to 6 rather soon. But Solar has really not hit that breaking point, right? Yeah, there's that point where he just is able to snowball and do what he wants to do. But I think this is the first time I've seen Solar play this style and not be successful in that, not be able to take the trades that he's looking for. But now, of course, it's time for the Queens to walk. The Queens, they're not going to run, of course, but they will get here eventually, and that does allow this air toss style, or this air Zerg style, to really start to find some damage. Now, there's 1 disruptor on the map that is going to. That's not going to last very long here. As now the Zerglings are going to fly on in, and the mutas, they're just going to knock down all of the shield batteries, and that's the important thing here. But look at that, second disruptor is going to go on in, but we have transfuses. Not enough energy, well, not enough damage there for the Queens to die off of 1 disruptor shot. Second disruptor shot, of course, most likely going to get targeted down. +1 will not be completed here. And I'm surprised we don't see the mutas just killing off these disruptors. We do have 4, though, okay. And now we will have, the Queens are just firing away here. The tech is just starting to die, and this is not an engageable army here for Creator, not yet, but he does have 3 disruptor shots, and this is just going to blow up everything here. Creator, his ground army is going to knock down the ground army of Solar, and now it's just an air army, which, well, it's Void Rays with overcharge, so that's not an army that Solar can really fight. Now, Archon's on the ground too, so the mutas are mostly going to go on down. How many mutas do we have? Yeah, only 3 mutas. Most of them did die. Now, we do have a Greater Spire on the way. We do have Infestors on the way. But Creator, I think he's bought himself time to start getting into carriers, if that is what he's looking for. As again, this is like the first time I've not seen Solar kill a Zerg or kill a Protoss with this style. So, shout out to Creator, right? This is something that Solar's been doing a lot of, and he's been looking very good at. And I guess this has found its way on the ladder enough that, you know, Solar or that Protoss players have really figured out or remembered how to deal with this. So of course, Flux Veins wasn't an adaptation. Getting +1, I mean, that's the goal. Unfortunately, that was canceled. But you know, Creator sitting there on top of his shield batteries, not being active on the map whatsoever with his units, not trying to take a fight at all, just trying to sit there and not die, are all adaptations. These are things that we didn't see Protoss players doing at first. But look how fast that 5th base is going to go down. And now we will have, Parasitic Bomb there on top of all of these Void Rays, and a lot of them will go on down. How many Void Rays? died. That was actually in the last fight. That's what we're looking at. 5 Void Rays for 1 Corruptor. Yeah, that's going to be just a nice trade there for Solar. Not bad at all. It looks like a Zergling run by on top of this perspective, well, actually not a perspective 5th base. No, okay, that's the Metaflock, never mind. Anyway, we do have Creator here. He is on 5 bases. He is actually on base parity with Solar, which is a bit of a scary thing, honestly, for Solar. That's not a situation he wants to find himself in. He always does want to beat that base up, that income up. And yeah, he's up, what is it? He's up 8 workers, but I mean, look at the relative income here. This is not all that much. We do have Void Rays, or excuse me, we have Broodlords on the Assault now. The Storms on top of these carriers, or these Corruptors, are going to be rather fantastic. But of course, on the other side of the map, or on the flip side, we do have carriers done as well. So, oh, that Storm, though, as we look away from that, and, well, feedbacks as well. So, it's going to be difficult here for Solar to really make this push happen, as there are a lot of Void Rays. Void Rays do very good against Broodlords. And, oh, carriers are just about done. 3 more Stargates on the way, so this game is going late, ladies and gentlemen. It's going late indeed. And, okay, so we will have Tempests. I do like this. Of course, Tempest very good against Broodlords. And also very good at breaking the static defense of Solar, right? Once you get those those anti-ground upgrades. As Creator, look, he's on 5 bases, right? He has a bank. He's just looking to fill out his tech path at this point. We have a Dark Shrine on the way. We have +1 air attack just about done. We have +1 shields just about done. And actually, we have a couple Zealots that are going to try to cancel this base. Now, Zerglings are here. No big deal. But it looks like Solar not all that interested in making this push happen. Instead, he's going to get his 6th base up. 1 base for max there, as he can reasonably get the upper, I call that, I don't know, the 10 o'clock base. So he can reasonably get the 10 o'clock base, and that's going to be just about it. As now we have Infestors on the way, of course, but I do like this from Solar. He is getting Broodlords, or he's getting Ultras as well. And that's a very good move to get on, just to get on top of the ground army of Creator. Knock down the High Templar, knock down the Disruptors. All of these things that make it rather difficult for Solar to really take the air fight. Oh, hey, that's going to be a Wayward Void Ray. Or Wayward Archon, excuse me. Actually, Zerglings are going to find another Archon here. And there we go. We have a couple of Ducks here. Storm's going down as well. That means the Archons can't really fight too much. But hey, it's another dead Archon for 29 Zerglings. Yep. Oh, they got a Disruptor there somewhere too. So 4 Void Rays, an Archon, and a Disruptor for 29 Zerglings. Yeah, this is Solar starting to trade out fairly nicely for himself. And actually, if you look at this, Creator has lost more resources over the course of this game than his opponent has, which, well, that's not what you want to see. Granted, Creator is really even on the total resources gained on the map at this point, so it's not as scary as it might otherwise be. Solar really was not able to get a lot done with those Mutas, as much as he wanted to at the very least, but of course, the game still goes on. This gives Creator a little bit of room to really get onto what he wants to. This terrifying late game Protoss ZVP army, PvZ army, that is just so terrifying for every Zerg player to try to deal with on into late game. He has his 5 bases. He does have +2 just about done. It's not quite the 14-odd minute +2 timing that we occasionally see Protoss is able to hit, but it's still a powerful one indeed. Look at this. He's getting shields as well, which is going to be very nice, strictly for the Interceptors, right? Interceptors, they don't really care about armor all that much, as a Creator will try to target down one of his own Disruptors. Probably not the best idea there. But luckily for him, he only has +1, does not have +2. But anyway, we have shields on the way. Warp Prism Speed on the way, of course, on the off chance that Creator's going to be able to get some damage done, but it's kind of funny. Months ago, when we were looking at this time, we're like, okay, well, this is kind of how Protoss wins the late game, more or less. They get 20 charge slots into a base, they kill that off, and they slowly whittle down the Zerg economy. But because Zergs have kind of started to learn how to make sure that they have the static defense they need just a little bit more. Put lurkers where they're useful, and with these heavily upgraded Ling Ultra styles, that, oh, I'm going to win the game because I am able to shut down the Zerg's economy in the late game is less of a thing than it once was. But now Creator, again, he does have his 5 bases. Solar, though, he's got 6 eventually. He is setting up his defense around that right now with all the spores and all the spines, that it is going to make it somewhat difficult for Creator really to push on in. And of course, with the Broodlords and the Vipers and the Infestors behind that as well, I mean, good luck pushing onto that left-hand side location. But again, good luck pushing into Creator as well with all the static defense that he does have, with all of the carriers that he has. It's this is not a game where either army can really fight the other in an advantageous position. Now, Creator would love for Solar to come and try to fight on into him, and Solar would say the same way. Yes, come, Creator, come into my lair, said the spider to the fly. But in this instance, both players are spiders, and they are both flies. It just depends on where this fight does go. But now look at this. The Corruptors are just going to find a carrier for free as they do rotate on over to this 5th base of... And I'm sorry, Creator's on 6 bases, Solar's on 7. I can count. It's fine. But anyway, as Solar puts a little bit of pressure on the bottom right-hand side base, which does force Creator to rotate, which does, of course, mean that, well, Solar was able to get a little bit of a catch there, but now the Oracle will get knocked down as well, and that is a bit of a problem. And now Creator's just going to make another one, and in the total expenses of this game, one Oracle is not really going to make or break you, unless it gets really late and there's no money left. But having that Oracle is so important, right? To deal with these Broodlords, to deal with these Corruptors, deal with these Vipers, all of these things that rely on their range, rely on their ability to sit kind of at the edge of where they want to take a fight, abduct things, kill them off, abduct things, kill them off, keep poking. And if you have a vision advantage, which Creator should have with his Oracles, that becomes a little bit more difficult to deal with. I should say, is this, if the Zerg does not have a vision advantage, if the Protoss does, it's a little bit harder for the Zerg to take the fight. Now, that being said, this is some terrifying creep spread from Solar. His creep spread on the right-hand side is almost going to go on in there and find its way to this base of Creator before Creator is going to start killing that off, but this is just buying Solar time. It makes it easy for him to really maintain that left-hand side base because, I mean, there's zero chance that Creator's really going to be able to push that right-hand side base for at least for a little bit of time. So now we have the Broodlords. They're going to look to siege on up here. They have +3 attack, +3 Carapace is on the way sooner rather than later. And actually, the Broodlings have +3 attack as well, not just that initial impact. So this is a terrifying air army here from Solar. But the one thing we can't forget is the fact that storms are what make this army powerful. Yes, we will have 2-2 air, 2-2 carriers coming on in sooner rather than later, but storms are a powerful thing indeed. They're what makes this army of Creator so damn powerful, because if you are able to knock down the Corruptors down to like 50% HP, and then maybe you get an Archon underneath, suddenly they're not nearly as powerful as they once were, but this Storm's not going to be all that useful. And, well, similarly, we're not going to see this Fungal Flame all that well anyway, or either, is now we have a bunch of Baneleys. They're going to come crashing on in here, depairing a lot of the static defense, and yep, there we go. The rest of the static defense will go on down. Shield Battery Overcharge was popped, but the pylons that were powering it are going to go down, so we're going to see a little bit more economy here from Creator fall down, but he's sitting at 8k, 5k. He's got a massive bank. And to be totally honest, he doesn't really care about going down to a little bit lower probe count. In fact, that is probably what he wants to do. All right, his goal, more than anything else at this point in the game, is to just build that unkillable army. He does have 3-2-2 on his air units as you know, Dota memes, but no one's throwing the game here. At least, hopefully not, and certainly not for anything like that. But now we do have, well, Creator. He's going to move out on the map here, and he will eat one fungal. I guess the second fungal too, but though that's going to be rather nice. One carrier is going to go down immediately. Look how fast that thing does die. That's going to be a bit problem. That is why it is always so hard for Creator to really move out on the map, because with all of the creep here, Solar will have the vision advantage, and that's of course one of the goals of these Oracles is to have that vision advantage to go on in. But now we're going to see a fungal on top of all of these Void Rays, and are we going to see a Parasitic Bomb as well? No, not yet. Man, Fungal plus Parasitic Bomb was just about to be really problematic here, but now Zerglings are going to find this base on the left-hand side, knock down 20 probes and the base itself, because 3-3 cracklings, right? Or at least +3 attack cracklings are powerful drugs indeed. Yes, Creator did a good job of cleaning up a lot of creep spread, but that really, as useful as that is not really going to be the story of this game. Creator is now down only on 43 workers. His bank, though, is a little bit better, but look at this. Creator, he's going to try to teleport on into the main base. He's going to recall on in there, but I cannot help but feel that Solar was well aware of this. He saw where the mothership was, And we're just going to see some fungal, some parasitic bombs, and this is not going to be a good situation here for Creator in the slightest. Look at his supply fall on down. Yes, the Broodlords are not in the best situations, but parasitic bombs and the fungals with all of these corruptors, well, they are going to stand strong indeed, as we have some fantastic transfuses as well. It's just a bunch of corruptors versus a bunch of Skytoss, but when it's only one Void Ray remaining, you know how that one does go, is actually that Void Ray won't even get on out, so the corruptors can save it for last, and now it's 190 supply to 132, and yes, Creator does have a bank. Yes, he is building 5 carriers at a time. But you got to remember, right? He did lose that fight. His bank, that by the way was massive, it was like 8K, 5K. It's probably going to go down to 4K, 2K by the time he's able to remax. But really the question here is whether Creator will allow, or Solar will allow Creator to remax, as he's just going to dive on top of this. One carrier goes down. Second carrier is going to go down as well, because even with the static defense, I mean, there is a lot of damage. There's a lot of DPS in this army. We will see the Tempest now. They will start trying to knock down some of these Broodlords at the very least, but with the Corruptors to zone for them, that just means it's just a bunch of dead Tempests. Because, well, Archons are going to try to sit on top of this, but Archons are not very good at all against the Broodlords. So now with this fantastic splits here, all of the air army here from Creator is going to find its way into the dirt. And now the Zerglings, Infestors, Broodlords, all that fun stuff are going to find their way on into the main base. And look at that, we even have a Neural to kill off this Archon. I'd like to see that Archon get targeted down. There we go. So now the Archon's going to go on down. And, yeah, this is a fantastic move. This is... Okay, there we go. So Creator's bank is mostly gone, as he is going out into a little bit of more of a ground-based force. We do have a couple of Immortals on the way, and he does have a Mothership on the way once again. But, I mean, Immortals against Broodlords, not the biggest of fans. Or I'm not the biggest fan. So Tempest Void Ray Immortal is going to be the tech path here that Creator has decided to go for. That in a copious amount of warpings to try to keep himself alive. But you got to remember, right, this is a 24-minute game. That means that Blink Stalkers, Charge Lots, DTs, all of these things are just not all that useful against the army that Solar has decided to make, unless you're trying to move on the map and maybe deal with some sort of counterattack style, but that's not what's going to happen here. So now the Stalkers are going to blink on forward. That's going to be a whiffed Blinding Cloud, but I'm not sure it really is going to matter here, as the Fungals are going to land, and those Parasitic Bombs are going to be massive against all of these Void Rays as well. And yes, there is a Mothership that does provide cloaking, but there are enough Spores here that that's not really going to make that much of a difference. As Creator is going to try to push on in once again with a bunch of Charge Lots, a bunch of Archons, a big ground army, and a slightly smaller air army, as those, well, those Parasitic Bombs are going to be massive. Storms, though, are not really landing, and that's the big thing you need to be able to deal with these Corruptors. And look at this, the Broodlords are going to retreat back onto the speed zones, which means they can actually move at some decent speed, but those Storms are going to be a whole hell of a lot nicer. But now the Invisibility Cloak is gone, which means these Broodlords can fire away with impunity, and Stalkers, they're going to try to take that blink forward, but not going to be all that useful. And with all of these abducts, we're starting to see carriers go down one after the other. The army of Solar is continuing to stay large. And Creator, well, he has expended his bank, he has expended his army. The Tempests are going down, and it's just carrier and nothing else. I guess there's stuff on the ground, but that doesn't really matter here. Infestors, the Fungals are going to be fantastic. The Broodlords are going to keep firing away, and yes, the Stalkers will blink on top of them. And these Stalkers do have some good upgrades, so the Broodlords are not going to kill them all that quickly, but kill them they shall, and that's going to be a GG. Solar, he's going to take game 1 here. Spawning in the upper right in the blue, down 1-0 here in this best of 3, this second match of the day. For Team NV, give it up for Creator. And his opponent in the bottom left-hand side of the map here in the red. For Kaitza Gaming, he is Solar. And we're going to have to see what exactly Creator has planned. Now, game number 1, he did really look like he was in a good spot. He looked like he had what he needed. So there we go. Now we can see that moment where I said, okay, I got to leave the game. Fantastic. But anyway, game number 1, Creator looked good, right? He looked like he had everything he needed to win the game. And then he recalled his entire army to his opponent's main base, didn't really get a lot of tech, and died. So, yeah, that was a bit unfortunate there. Solar pounced upon the opportunity, did not really give Creator the time to build another army. And Creator did have the bank to build another army, but it does take time, even if you have, I think 5 Stargates was the end total there, even if you do have 5 Stargates. It's 2 or 3 production cycles, and that is too many production cycles, too many. As Solar was able to just pound on in there get the Broodlord Siege on up. And Creator had to spend a lot of his money on gateway units to make sure that he didn't die, but gateway units against a tier 3 Zerg army, well, not sure I'm a big fan of that one. I mean, it's what he had to do, and sometimes that can work. You know, you lose the fight, and then you warp in like 30 Stalkers, and you're able to blink on top of the Broodlords and kill them off, and the Zerg is overcommitted to air supply, and doesn't have really anything on the ground, and then those Stalkers win the game. But, Solar, he's too good for that. And what we're looking at now, of course, is what is Creator going to do out of this? Oh. So he starts Warp Gate, he cancels it, and then he goes Stargate. Now, I don't know whether this is a factor of, like, okay, Solar, I know he checked at around 215, 220. I know that's when he's looking with that Overlord to try to see what's up. And he will see the Warp Gate, but maybe he's not going to see the cancel? I guess maybe that's the lot. It could be just the Creator made a mistake and kind of autopiloted Warp Gate, but honestly, I would imagine autopilot Stargate would be more common than autopilot Warp Gate at this point with how common the Stargate builds have been. So I got to imagine that was an attempt to pull the wool over Solar's eyes a little bit, banking on the fact that Solar looks at the 216 mark or whatever it is, where, you know, you're going to know whether it is going to be a Warp Gate or a Stargate, or at least whether it's going to be Warp Gate first, you know, or a Stargate first. Anyway, so we will have these two Adepts. They will shit on it. And hey, you know what? A Creep Jammer, that's actually going to be really nice. It will make it more difficult for Solar to circulate between his main and his third base, which does mean that these two Adepts are going to be a lot more powerful, as they can get one, probably, yeah, this is 3 or 4 drones here, which is going to be rather nice. Oh, we got just 3. Which is, you know, you would like to get 4, you'd like to get 2 per Adept, that's what makes it worthwhile, but this is not a terrible idea. And behind this, of course, we do have a second gateway on the way, and a Void Ray on in. So this is looking like it's just kind of be your standard Stargate, Oracle, Void Ray, whatever. Now the Oracle will fly its way on in and will not be all that successful. Now, of course, there is no third base here for Creator just yet, and generally when you go for the Stargate build, you go for a 350 third. That being said, with all the Zerglings out in the front, that is making it a little bit more difficult for Creator to take his third. But now, he has room, but that's a second Oracle after the Void Ray. And it's 420. He hasn't even tried to go take his third base. And the rule pretty much says that, you know, yeah, if it's before 430, Protoss, okay, it's a standard time third base. If it's any time after that, Protoss is doing something crazy, and he is doing something crazy indeed. There's a Robo on the way behind this. It's only one Stargate. And this is a 440-ish third base. Honestly, I don't even know what the Creator intends to take this here with the Zerglings right here that will continuously delay this. So this is going to be a pretty cool build here coming out of Creator, actually. Yeah, this is not going to get taken just yet. But these two Adepts should be able to clean up the Zerglings. Actually, no, not with that surround. Yeah, the Adepts will sacrifice their lives, or at least one of them will. And a nice move there. Creator, he's just being, oh man, it's 5 minutes and Creator doesn't have his third base getting started, which, A, may have been the plan. He may have been saying, yeah, I just want to pretend like I want to get that done. But with how much money he has banked, I don't think that's the case whatsoever. So now we do have the third base on the way. Oracle going to get a couple more drones, of course. Actually, double Oracle, excuse me, going to get a couple more workers. That being said, one of them will trade their lives out, but as long as you have one, Oracle, you're fine, but maybe not, because Creator, he's getting a third Oracle out of this. Even before he lost the first one. And 2 more gateways on the way and Immortal on the way as well. Huh. So we have 2 Oracles on the map. Are we going to see a third? Is this like some sort of 3 Oracle or Immortal pressure? Not really sure. This is a weird build here from Creator. And I'm excited to see how it's going to turn on out. But it's not standard. It's certainly not something you see all that often. Yeah, the third base is going to be done, but it's going to be done at 6:15, and that never really feels good. But in terms of hallmarks of aggression here, we do have a Creator. He's getting that Warp Prism on the way. And that, more than anything, should tell you that this is going to be an aggressive move here from a Creator. Much like morphing in Archons, you don't get your Warp Prism until you are actually planning on using it. Before that point, well, you would rather be building Immortals, or Colossus, or Disruptors, or Observers, or anything that's not a Warp Prism. So now we will have the army of Creator he move out on the map, and yes, he does have a Twilight on the way, which does appear to be a little bit mistimed. I'm actually surprised to see that. If this is going to be kind of the committed two-base pressure. I mean, he's not cutting probes for this. And it's going to be Blink on the way, so is this just like a pressure build and he wants to get on into Blink beyond it? Not really sure, but the Zergling run-by is going to be rather powerful, as we will see 5 drones go down immediately, but has he caught Creator off guard here? Or has he caught, excuse me, Solar off guard here? As the one Immortal with all the sentries and the Stalkers, this is actually going to be a rather powerful push, and he is equalizing the Zerg army supply at this point, which is not ever a good situation for the Zerg. As I mean, there are a lot of queens, though, that are going to be able to keep this army around a little bit longer, but now the Oracles are going to dive on top of things. One queen goes down, second queen goes down, and it looks like Creator's starting to break through just a little bit. He has that upgrade, or he has that army supply parity. Jordans are going to have to be pulled to defend this, and, well, Immortals and Stalkers, not all that great against a bunch of drones, but now the Biles are going to start to land here, and with one Immortal that's pretty low, the DPS from Creator's army is starting to fall down just a little bit. His army supply is starting to fall down just a little bit, as the Immortal died as well, and this is the army falling apart. It was looking really good for Creator thus far, and it really was. But at the end of the day, we will see Creator. He's going to spend one final Warp It on in, and that's just, oh wow, that Warp Prism is going to barely stay alive. At the end of the day, though, this is an army of Creator that is getting slapped aside, and now Solar, well, he did get an Infestation Pit behind this. So it's time for him to build those Swarm Hosts, move across the map, punish Creator for his greed, for his transgressions. And we have another Oracle on the way. So yeah, we do have Creator here trying to micro against this army. And I don't blame him, right? He has to do something to prevent this army from steamrolling into his base as it normally would be. Oh, those Biles almost getting the Oracle too. Now, actually, you know what? This Oracle, getting it on out, actually has turned out to be rather useful. The Oracle's going to get 2.5 Ravagers. It's going to run out of energy now. But, you know, hey, 2.5 Ravagers. Those are 2.5 Ravagers that were not on the fight. But our Storm Hosts are just about out. And we may actually see Queens walk across the map as well. Oh, there we go. So Queens are walking. We're going to go up to 8 Swarm Hosts, I believe, is kind of, if I do my math, 7 or 8 Swarm Hosts. And that's a powerful force against Blinkstalker Immortal. Doesn't really work out all that well. So we will have 10 Locusts get released here, and that's going to try to dive on top of these Immortals. And as soon as these Immortals go down, by the way, this pushes a lot easier for Solar, right? Yes, Stalkers are somewhat decent. Blinkstalkers are somewhat decent against Roaches and Ravagers, but at the end of the day, it's the Storm Hosts that are scary. And B, it is the Zerglings. So the Roaches, the Ravagers, they're going to keep taking this fight. They're going to tank on up. Immortals are starting to go on down here. The Immortal on the right-hand side, well, there's no Warp Prism that can deal with that. So that Immortal will die, and that is the benefit of having these Queens so far forward. You cannot send this heavily damaged Warp Prism onto the other side of the map. So this is 12 Swarm Hosts, 13 Roaches, and eventually some Ravagers. More Ravagers are getting warped on in, of course. But this is Creator. He is at death's doorstep here, trying to do whatever he can to try to take this fight, find his way back on into this game, take his game number 3, but I'm not really sure what he can do. It's 192 supply to 118 here. So the Stalkers are going to try to blink off to the side to knock down some of these Swarm Hosts, but they will be unsuccessful, find themselves blocked off there to their doom. They're all dying. Stalkers on the left-hand side, the Immortals on the left-hand side are dying here. Creator, he's going to drop below 100 supply for the first time since 4 minutes, and GG. Solar, he's going to take game number 2.